Welcome to Mir 5, the Mir series game introducing Asterion, the world's first AI boss monster built with NVIDIA Ace. A script-based boss monster follows predictable patterns, regardless of who the opponents are. As a result, players can easily anticipate and counter the boss's attacks, making the encounter less exciting and reducing it to a tedious task to acquire items. But Asterion is no ordinary boss. Artificial intelligence enables Asterion to analyze the player's information, identify unique skills of each player, and determine who to attack first. Asterion recalls past battles similar to the current situation. It then determines the most probable course of action to achieve victory. Asterion adapts, attacking with unpredictable patterns. It cannot be defeated twice with the same strategy. Welcome to Mir 5. Are you ready to face Asterion?
So this is the AI toy you mentioned before.
This is not only a toy, it's animal intelligence.
Holy.
Really? Huh. Yeah.
Did you draw the thing just now?
This has a very high artistic value. Let's do it.
Do you like to have your vehicle looks more special? You can both change the painting and draw a sticker.
Let the fun begin.
At Crafton, we are revolutionizing the battle royale genre with generative AI. Introducing PUBG Ally, the world's first co-playable character designed to play like a human teammate. Hey Ally, I'm looking for a level 3 vest and 5.56 ammo. Keep your eyes peeled.
Found a level 3 vest and ammo nearby. Pinged it for you. Enemy spotted. I'm covering.
Is there a vehicle nearby?
Found one. I will come to you.
I'm ready to get into the action now. Can you flank them?
On it. Moving left. Wait. I'm knocked out. Crawling to you now.
Just hang on. Whew, I couldn't have done it without you.
I know. I carry for a living.
Crafton, in partnership with NVIDIA, presents Smart ZOI, the world's first co-playable character built with NVIDIA ACE. Smart ZOI redefines traditional non-playable characters by transforming them into truly co-playable characters. A Smart ZOI with a considerate personality notices a hungry man. Instead of walking past him, she visits a local bakery to buy him a sandwich, addressing his immediate need. In another scenario, Smart ZOI encounters a lost woman. Again guided by her considerate nature, she calmly and effectively helps the woman find her destination. While passing by a street performer boldly showcasing his choreography, Smart ZOI's appreciative personality shines through as she energetically cheers for him, hoping to draw more spectators to his performance. At the end of each day, the Smart ZOI analyzes the experiences gained, which influence their behavior the next day, gradually shaping a truly unique and personalized character. With the new Thought system, players can also gain insight into what the Smart ZOI was silently thinking as they performed each of these actions. A collection of these unique Smart ZOIs guarantees a city that is vibrantly diverse, fostering unpredictable social interactions that create a rich and dynamic story-driven simulation.
AI is changing everything about how we work and play, and computer graphics is no exception. We've been reinventing computer graphics with artificial intelligence since the launch of RTX in 2018. DLSS is always learning. To improve the AI powering DLSS, we analyze image quality and fine-tune our training datasets and algorithms. Then we retrain the model to make it smarter, faster, and easier to integrate. DLSS is the best way to play. Today, we are introducing the biggest advancements to DLSS since 2020, including new multi-frame generation for RTX 50 series GPUs, enhanced frame generation for RTX 40 and 50 series users with faster performance and lower memory usage, and a new model powering ray reconstruction, super resolution, and deep learning anti-aliasing that enhances image quality and stability for all GeForce RTX users. Alongside the RTX 40 series in 2022, we launched frame generation, where an AI network used an optical flow field along with motion vectors from game geometry to generate a single frame between every pair of traditionally rendered frames. The Blackwell architecture is built for neural rendering, and that unlocks new AI capabilities for DLSS. We can now generate multiple frames per traditionally rendered frame. To make this possible, our research team developed a new AI model that generates the optical flow field more efficiently and more accurately in order to generate multiple frames. Multi-frame generation requires consistent and precise frame pacing. DLSS 3 frame pacing had variability because of how different game engines divided workloads between the CPU and GPU. With the Blackwell architecture, the display engine was improved to leverage flip metering when generating multiple frames, ensuring that the GPU delivers consistent and optimal frame pacing. Additionally, 5th generation tensor cores on RTX 50 series GPUs have the computational horsepower necessary to quickly execute this series of AI models. These software and hardware innovations enable DLSS 4 on RTX 50 series GPUs to generate up to 3 additional frames between traditionally rendered frames. This brings revolutionary performance versus traditional native rendering. Most frame generation games available today can easily be updated to enable multi-frame generation with the NVIDIA app. In the NVIDIA app driver settings menu, open the DLSS override and select your desired output mode in the frame generation drop-down menu. When RTX 50 series graphics cards hit store shelves, multi-frame generation will be supported in more than 75 games and apps. In addition to multi-frame generation, our team has also been hard at work developing foundational improvements for our existing DLSS technologies.
Today, we're introducing an enhanced single-frame generation model for RTX 40 and 50 series GPUs, which, like the multi-frame generation technique for Blackwell, uses 2 AI models, one for optical flow and another for frame generation. The result is increased performance and lower VRAM usage, as you can see here. DLSS 4 also introduces a more powerful transformer-based model for super-resolution ray reconstruction and DLAA, using 4x more tensor core processing power to reconstruct images at even better image quality for all RTX owners. Previously, all these technologies used a convolutional neural network model, also known as CNN. CNNs were the dominant architecture for image-related applications during the early years of deep learning development. A CNN processes pixel information through local operations, spatially around a small number of neighboring pixels, and temporally across multiple frames. Now we're introducing a new transformer-based architecture for the first time. The transformer architecture is driving the scaling laws of artificial intelligence, and is what powers the recent advancement in AI applications. Compared to the CNN models, transformers use self-attention and can much more easily identify the longer range patterns across a much larger pixel window. Transformers scale much more effectively than CNNs, so our transformer models ingest over 2 times more parameters and requires 4 times more compute during inference. In fact, DLSS 4 on RTX GPUs is the first time transformer models generate sequential images at a high real-time frame rate. Blackwell's tensor cores provides additional hardware acceleration that boosts the inference speed of these transformer models even further. When using DLSS super resolution, the end product of the transformer model is more temporally stable with more image detail in motion. In intensive ray trace content, the transformer model for ray reconstruction gets an even bigger uplift in general quality, especially for scenes with challenging lighting. All the common artifacts from typical denoisers are significantly reduced. With the NVIDIA app, GeForce RTX users can optionally update their DLSS games with the transformer model of ray reconstruction of super resolution or DLAA. In addition to games, DLSS 4 is coming to multiple creative apps, including Unreal Engine 5, V5 Render, and Chaos Vantage. DLSS significantly enhances the real-time viewport experience, multiplying the frame rate in V5 Render, enabling designers to better iterate and collaborate on their work. Neo-rendering is creating increasingly more on-screen content, and these generated pixels are higher quality than what's output by traditional native rendering. With super resolution or ray reconstruction alone, 3 out of every 4 pixels are generated with AI. When adding frame generation, 7 out of 8 pixels are generated by AI. Finally, with the DLSS 4 multi-frame generation, 15 out of every 16 pixels are generated by AI.
With the RTX 50 series and DLSS 4, we've introduced a new generation of neural graphics, so games are more beautiful, run faster, and are more responsive. The AI-powered future is here, and DLSS 4 is the best way to play.
Since programmable shading was introduced over 20 years ago, it's unlocked a wave of graphics innovation. From pixel shading to real-time ray tracing, Powered by 5th generation Tensor cores and 4th generation RT cores, the GeForce RTX 50 series is poised to unlock graphics innovations and usher in a new era with neural rendering, made available to developers through NVIDIA RTX Kit. The first of these new innovations included in the kit is RTX Neural Shaders, a new programming model that lets developers train and use tiny AI networks inside shaders. This allows hyper-complex assets to be rendered in real time, bringing games closer to reproducing the high-quality materials you see in big-budget CGI movies. The applications of neural shaders are countless, from materials to lighting to geometry and more. An application of neural shaders is neural texture compression. RTX neural texture compression uses AI to compress textures more efficiently. This reduces texture memory consumption by up to 7 times, while maintaining a high level of visual quality. Similarly, RTX neural materials compress shader code and handle material processing faster, allowing you to fill entire scenes with cinematic quality assets at game-ready performance. In addition to RTX Global Illumination, Neural Radiance Cache uses AI to simulate multiple light bounces, improving lighting quality and performance in path-traced games. Driven by rising expectations for visual fidelity and the development of advanced geometry systems like Unreal Engine's Nanite, geometric complexity has grown exponentially over the past 30 years. To tackle this complexity, RTX Mega Geometry rebuilds geometric data structures used for path tracing in real time, delivering up to 100 times more ray-traced triangles per frame. This breakthrough powers massive, detailed worlds and infinitely complex characters. RTX character rendering brings a new level of photorealism to game characters' skin and hair. The latest algorithms for ray-traced subsurface scattering and strand-based hair give digital humans and characters a more realistic appearance. And RTX Neural Faces uses generative AI to create photorealistic faces from basic 3D rendered versions in real time. RTX Neural Faces takes a simple rasterized or ray-traced face plus 3D pose data as input to control the generation, and uses AI to generate a temporally stable, lifelike face in real time. The high quality of the generated face is achieved via a pipeline that trains on offline generated images taken at every angle, under different lighting and occlusion conditions, and with different emotive expressions. Blackwell reinvents graphics with neural rendering, unlocking path tracing of massive worlds and incredible characters with AI. RTX Kit, our suite of neural rendering technologies for games, will be available at developer.nvidia.com.
NVIDIA spent over 5 years studying input lag and responsiveness, which is how quickly a game displays the reaction to a player's inputs. A few milliseconds can be the difference between victory and defeat. Higher latency can hurt performance through missed hit registration, inconsistent aiming, and disadvantages when holding an angle. In 2020, we launched NVIDIA Reflex, which tightly synchronizes the CPU and the GPU to reduce latency by an average of 50% in top competitive titles. Today, we're announcing a breakthrough in our latency research with the introduction of Reflex 2 with Frame Warp. Over 5 years ago, our esports research team published a study illustrating how players aim better and complete tasks faster when rendered frames are updated based on more recent input. For example, when a player aims to the right, it takes some time for that action and the new camera perspective to be displayed. What if instead, an existing frame's camera could be shifted or warped to the right to show the results much sooner? Frame Warp reduces your camera latency through this concept, which has gone from research to reality. Let's dive into exactly how Frame Warp works. As a frame is being rendered by the GPU, the CPU is calculating the camera position of the next frame in the pipeline, based on the latest mouse input. Frame Warp samples the new camera position from the CPU and warps the frame being rendered by the GPU to use this new camera position. The warp is conducted as late as possible, just before the rendered frame is sent to the display, ensuring the most recent mouse input is reflected on screen. In the end, players see the rendered frame, but with an updated camera perspective, reducing latency and improving your ability to aim, track, and hit more shots. Depending on the frame rate, This process can be happening hundreds of times per second, constantly delivering the freshest camera perspective. Gamers are going to feel truly connected to their mouse movements, whether it's tracking a moving target or quickly flicking to aim at an unexpected foe. To warp to the most recent camera position, frame warp shifts many of the game's pixels, which can create small holes in some regions of the image, especially when mouse movements are intense. However, NVIDIA has developed a latency-optimized predictive rendering algorithm which uses camera, color, and depth data from prior frames to in-paint these holes accurately. For example, here's the finals with frame warp and no in-painting. And here's what it looks like with in-painting. The result is a frame which shows the freshest camera position seamlessly inserted into the rendering pipeline. Using this cutting-edge warp process, frame warp reduces latency by around an entire frame time, which amounts to nearly another 50% of latency savings on top of Reflex low latency mode, for a total reduction of 75% from native. Players will experience improved target acquisition, faster reaction times, and tighter aim precision. Let's see it in-game. In the finals, without Reflex, players can see a moderate amount of PC latency. Turning on Reflex low latency mode reduces latency significantly. Activating Reflex frame warp reduces input lag by another 50%, for a total reduction of 75% from native, making it easier to track targets in motion, land flick shots, secure eliminations, and the win. And unlike Reflex low latency mode, Reflex frame warp provides significant latency savings even in CPU bottleneck scenarios. Here, we have Reflex 2 enabled in Valorant, a CPU-limited game that runs blazingly fast. Frame rates are not only insanely fast, but PC latency now reaches below 2 milliseconds. This is the lowest latency figure we've ever seen in an FPS. We're bringing Reflex 2 to top competitive games like Valorant and the finals, with more to be announced in the future. Reflex frame warp is coming soon for all GeForce RTX gamers, and will be available first on RTX 50 series GPUs.